guys, it's Ro. Welcome to another Nerdy Nummies. Today I'm hanging out with my sister Mo.
Hey everybody.
I'm so excited because we have not baked together in a minute.
It's been a hot minute.
Mo's busy. She's run business, she's got a baby. It's just been too long, so we thought it'd be really fun to get together and make a very special cake. If you like watching videos with Mo and I when we're baking, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, click subscribe, it's free, and ring the bell to receive notifications every time I post a new video. Because we're gonna be posting a bunch of really fun videos this year, and I don't want you guys to miss anything. So Molly, today's a very special day. What kind of cake are we gonna be making today?
We are making a birthday cake today. It is Greyson's third birthday. I cannot believe he's 3 already, and he is obsessed with Paw Patrol.
Loves it.
So we are gonna make an epic Paw Patrol themed birthday cake.
And at the end of the video, we're having a birthday party for Grayson, so be sure to stay tuned. Also, I'm very excited because this part of the video is sponsored by a brand that I love, Hellofresh. If you'd like to check out Hellofresh, go to hellofresh.com and use the code ROW16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprise gifts. Again, that's hellofresh.com and use the code ROW16.
All right, without further ado, let's get started.
I got us some surprises.
Ooh, I like what you're
That
saying.
match our sweaters. Very Paw Patrol. Here you
Okay.
go. I got this for you.
Little chase headband.
Yeah. And this for me.
Okay, Marshall.
First step to making this cake is we're gonna mix together our dry ingredients in a large bowl because we're making a lot of cake. We're making a 2-tiered cake. Some of the batter will go into the 8-inch rounds and the other batter will go into the 6-inch rounds. And what kind of cake are we making, you ask? We're making Greyson's current favorite, which is funfetti. So it's a delicious vanilla cake, but we're doing custom funfetti colors. We pick sprinkles that are like the colors of Paw Patrol. And the recipe and all the ingredients and their measurements that we're using today, I'm gonna put below in the description. So if you wanna follow along at home and make this cake, you can. Let's start with the flour.
Here we go.
We're gonna pour a lot of flour into the bowl. Ooh, yeah, it's a lot. All right, so we add all the flour. Then we're gonna add some baking powder. There you go, Molly. And a little bit of salt. Then whisk together till well combined.
Next step, we're gonna cream together our butter, shortening, and sugar in our stand mixer. And you can do this by hand or with a handheld electric mixer, but I just prefer this one. It's easier to do, especially in such a big quantity.
Yeah, we got a lot of butter. And a note about the butter, you want it to be at room temperature. You don't want it to be cold right out of the refrigerator. And you don't want to add melted butter. Shortening. Perfect.
And look at that sugar.
And the sugar. Let her rip, Molly. You're just gonna let them keep mixing together until the mixture is light and fluffy, well combined. Oh, Molly, that looks amazing.
Oh, it looks good.
Ooh, now this is what you want. This is a light, fluffy, it looks like a sweet cloud of butter. This is it. Now the next step, we're gonna be adding eggs. Usually I do them one at a time, but we've already cracked them. We've got all of the egg whites. If you add the whole egg, you'll end up with a yellow cake, but we want a vanilla cake. We want it to be more white, so.
We want those sprinkles to pop.
And I'm not gonna be adding all the eggs at once. I'm just gonna add a little bit at a time because, whoa!
Okay, there we go.
I was hoping to add it in thirds or fourths, but that was a halvesies moment. And in between each addition of egg, you can scrape down the sides of the bowl and the bottom. You really want to make sure we work in the egg to all of the batter. Add a couple more eggs, mix it up, and then the last of the eggs, mix it up again. Next, we're gonna add our extracts, a lot of vanilla extract.
Yum.
I'm gonna pour it in.
All right.
And a little bit of almond extract.
Get in that cake. Okay, this is looking good and mixed. What are we doing next?
We are gonna alternate adding our flour mixture and milk, starting and ending with our flour mixture. So we'll add 1/3 of the flour, mix it up, 1/2 of the milk, mix it up, another 1/3 of the flour, mix it up, last of the milk, mix it up, and end with the last of the flour, mix it up.
All right, the batter's looking nice and smooth, and we are ready to put the fun in funfetti.
Yeah, let's put the fun in funfetti. Molly, grab the sprinkles.
Here we go.
Yeah, do the honors. Pour the first ones in there.
This just looks good.
Oh, it's so pretty. And now I'm gonna add some yellow sprinkles.
Yellow, Rubble's color, and now Chase's color, blue.
Yeah, oh, you gotta do Chase, because that's, you're wearing, yeah.
Oh, Just looks like an ice cream sundae right now, you know?
Then using a spatula, fold the sprinkles into the batter. If you've never folded before, it's very easy. You just scoop underneath the batter, flip it over and turn. It's much more gentle than just mixing it. You don't want to break these sprinkles apart. That looks amazing.
Marshall, what's next?
Let me tell you, Chase. We've got our cake pans in front of us. We've got 4 6-inch rounds and we've got 4 8-inch rounds. All the pans, as you can see, are already greased and they're lined with a piece of parchment paper cut out at the bottom. Here's the paper. Just put it in there like so. I love to do this because it really ensures that your cake is not going to stick to the pan. Whoa, let's start with the big cakes now. This is enough batter for all the cakes. We're just gonna eyeball it and distribute it evenly as we can. So Mo's spreading the batter flat with a little spatula. So if you spread it flat, it can kind of counteract that natural bake.
All right, the batter's all poured out and smoothed out in the pans.
And it's time to bake. This is a job for Marshall. I'm gonna bring the fire, I'm gonna bring the heat. You're gonna preheat your oven to 350 degrees and bake the cakes for about 30 to 35 minutes. Just keep your eye on it. Every oven is different. Once your cakes have baked, give them plenty of time to cool. You can pop them in the refrigerator, the freezer. You just wanna make sure they're completely cool before you decorate them or ice them because it will melt the icing.
And they can crumble a little bit when you're trying to spread it if it's too warm still.
We're gonna start with our first tier, our 8-inch cake. So in front of me, I've got a turntable, which is one of my favorite baking tools, and a little cake plate. All right, Molly, you ready?
Yeah,
I'm gonna put a little icing right on the cake plate. There we go. And that's gonna help it stick. It's gonna be a little glue. Because the cake's baked so beautifully and so flat, I don't need to do any leveling. We're just gonna leave them as a natural cake. This also saves a lot of time. That's a good tip. Here I've got a bunch of buttercream icing that I've scooped into a piping bag with a big circle tip at the end. Now you don't need the big circle tip, but I'm doing a very generous layer because I'm trying to get these cakes to be about 6 inches tall. I want it to look very grand, to look big. So just pipe icing all the way around like a little fence and then fill it in. I like to do a zigzag motion, that's my favorite. Then using an offset spatula, you're just gonna gently smooth it out. Once you do that, you can add your next layer. This cake's almost done. Last thing we need to do, add a little bit more icing on the top and the last cake layer. Our first cake is stacked. We're gonna pop it into the refrigerator to chill for about 20 minutes while we assemble the smaller cake. And we're just going to stack ice, stack ice, stack ice. And then when you stack, the top layer is upside down.
That's right. All right, we've taken our cakes out of the fridge. They've had plenty of time to chill, and now it's time to ice them.
And just remember that icing does not need to be perfect because we're gonna be covering both of our cakes with fondant. When I ice cakes, I like to start at the bottom and spin, 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 and work my way up the cake and then ice the top. Then using an offset spatula, I'm just gonna smooth things out, gently press against the cake, and just keep spinning around and around until it's nice and even. The cake is looking pretty good. Again, doesn't need to be perfect because we're gonna cover it with fondant, but I'm just gonna keep smoothing it out with the spatula, getting it a little bit more flat. When you're covering a cake in fondant, you don't want your icing to be too thick because if you pipe on too much icing, the fondant can kind of warp. If you have any parts that are exposed, I wouldn't even sweat it because the fondant will be forgiving. So there we go, nice and smooth. Now you're gonna pop this cake in the fridge to chill for at least an hour. I know it's a long time, but you really want this to set, really to chill before we assemble.
And while this one's chilling, we're gonna do the exact same thing to our larger cake and ice it all around.
Oh yeah. Once the cakes have chilled and they're ready to assemble, that's when we're gonna roll out the fondant because you don't wanna do it too early, then your fondant's gonna dry out and crack. So you wanna do this right when the cakes are done chilling. So in front of us, we have a silicone mat. This is gonna make things a little bit easier. You can also use a big sheet of vinyl if you want. It just has to be thin and lightweight, easy to pick up. So here we go. Mo, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves, roll up your sleeves.
All right.
We're gonna take a thin layer of shortening and we're gonna spread it over the mat. I'm not sure if I've ever shown this technique. Maybe when I was coloring fondant, I did a tutorial a million years ago, like covering your hands and shortening before you dye a fondant. But this is going to help the fondant not stick while you're placing it on top of the cake, and it adds a little bit of moisture. All right, Molly, this is good.
Okay.
Now we're gonna roll out our blue fondant to cover one of our cakes. We've just got it wrapped up tight so it won't dry out. I'll just give it a little heat. We've got it in a circle dish shape, and we're gonna try to keep that shape. We're gonna roll it out to be about 21 or 22 inches. And that's why we've got a really big mat here. And if you know the height and width of your cake, you'll know how big to roll out your fondant. This cake that we're gonna cover, our bottom tier cake, is 6 inches high and 8 inches wide because we're doing the 8-inch rounds. So we're gonna need a piece of fondant that is 21 inches in size. The fondant is all rolled out. Now let's have some fun. I've never done this technique before, so I'm really excited, but it works.
It's
now
wild.
The fondant is going to stick to the mat because of the shortening. And it's a really easy and more precise way to get that fondant onto the cake. So Molly, if you'll grab those quarters,
Okay.
I'll grab these quarters.
Okay.
And then Denise, who's helping us over here, will you bring in the cake, Denise? Oh yeah,
Beautiful.
perfect. Thanks, Denise. All right, now watch this, you
Okay.
guys. This is like almost a magic trick. Flip it upside down, it's
Whoa.
going to stick. And then we can kind of eyeball it. All right, then we're gonna gently place it down. Oh, I'm a little longer on my side, but that's okay. And gently peel off.
So much easier than the rolling pin method.
This is incredible. This is just incredible. Oh,
Beautiful.
Wow, 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 wow.
Now for some more helpful tips. First, I'm gonna use this fondant smoother and smooth out the entire top to get all the air bubbles out.
Yeah.
And then press around the sides a little bit so no air can go back into the top, so we just keep that nice,
No air.
smooth top of the cake.
Then we're just gonna gently press down the sides, get that fondant to stick. And at the bottom, when it's folding like this, I just go really slow and stretch. It has some flexibility here, it has some give. And then you'll see right here, again, I kind of gently pull the bottom as I press on the cake. And you can get all those wrinkles out everywhere. And the more you practice this and get more comfortable with it, you can do the entire cake without one crease.
I'm gonna let you do this part. This part always makes me so
Molly's stepping
nervous.
away.
Yeah,
it's so,
this is
it's
you.
so easy. See, you just pull out the bottom here, just give it a light pull, and then press against that cake. Okay, now we gotta cut off the excess fondant around the bottom. Now I've pressed it down to the end of the cake. So this should make it really easy. So with a small sharp cutting knife, be careful, don't get your fingers. We're gonna cut around the bottom of the cake and cut off all of this excess fondant. And to remove the fondant around the cake, you can either use the small cutting knife or some baking scissors. And you just cut, bloop, and remove. As you can see, the cake is covered in fondant and smooth, and we did the exact same thing to our smaller cake, but with red fondant. Now it's time to stack our cakes and make this cake a 2-tiered cake. But before we do, we've got to add structural support. Support is so important. If you put this cake on top of this cake,
Might smush it
yeah, in
a little
some
bit.
cases it might hold up for a minute. I wouldn't suggest it.
And who doesn't want support? Everybody needs a little support,
I would
right?
heavily suggest support because when you get a cake this big and tall, there's a lot of weight and it could move and sink in. So for structural support, you can use any kind of cake dowels you want. They make them out of wood, they make them out of plastic. I've got boba straws and these work really well. There's nothing wrong with using what you got. If you've never used a cake dowel before, please want to do a cake, let me show you how to do it. It's very easy. Just going to press straight down. Try not to go diagonal with it. Make it as straight as you can. And then you're just going to mark it with your finger of where it's at the top. Pull up just a little bit, and with some baking scissors, just cut.
Woo! Okay.
Then press back down into the cake. Then you're just gonna keep doing this. Add a couple more.
All right, the cake is all supported, and now we're gonna stack our cakes.
And before you place that cake on top, I'm just gonna put a little bit of icing around the straws and in the middle for our top cake to stick. Look, I'm gonna do a smiley face for you, Molly.
Okay, we have to slide this guy off.
Okay, slide on to the top. Ready, go. Go, 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 go! Now it's time for my favorite part. It is time to decorate. And to decorate, we are gonna be using some fondant. I forgot to film this, but I actually covered the cake board with a thin layer of fondant just here at the bottom. All right, so in front of us, Mo, what color fondants do we have?
We have red, blue, gray, yellow, white, and brown.
That's right. Because we really want the decorations to look like the show's logo and their font choice, even the lettering, we had to create templates. So Molly, oh, you want to hold up the little shield?
Yeah,
that's
so we
cute.
have like their logo right here.
So you can just print them out, cut them out, and you can see right here. And we're gonna be rolling out fondant flat and then cutting out the shapes and the letters. I got an idea too. I think I want to put a dog collar on the cake.
Oh, that's cute.
Is that too weird?
No, that's really cute.
Okay, let's start with the bone. Just printed out a picture of a bone that would look good on the side of the cake. Maybe up here, maybe here. We'll see, we'll put it together. And now we're gonna roll out our yellow fondant and white fondant. And let's cut out some bones. In this little bowl, got a little bit of cornstarch so that the fondant doesn't stick to the surface. I'm just taking a little brush, or you could use your hands really. I'm just gonna brush it here so it won't stick. Now we're gonna roll it out using a little fondant roller. You can also just use a regular rolling pin, whatever you got. Once you roll out your fondant, place your template on top and cut it out. This shape in particular, I'm gonna be cutting not right on the line, but I'm gonna be cutting just a little bit above it, giving it a little bit of space because I'm gonna cut the same shape out of white fondant and layer it together. Once you cut out your shape, just peel off the excess fondant. Now we're gonna do the same thing with white fondant. Now I'm gonna stack the bones on top of each other. A great way for fondant to stick to fondant once it's dried is just using a little bit of water. It acts as glue. Oh, pretty. Looks great, and now we're gonna cut out little letters for Greyson's name. For the letters we're cutting out today, I'm just gonna roll out some fondant and use our stencils to cut out the font. Just place the stencil on top, and again, you can use a small cutting knife or an X-Acto knife, whatever you have around the house, and cut out your cute little letters. Again, using a small little brush, we're gonna dip it into a little bit of water, paint the back of our letters. It's gonna help be like glue and stick onto the bone. You can add as many details or as little as you want, and as much dimension. Like this is 3 layered, and it's so cool. I'm gonna stick this on the cake right now before our fondant truly dries and hardens, because the cake has a slight curve and you don't want your fondant to fully dry out because then it will break. To attach it, use a little bit of royal icing. Perfect. Then to make the Paw Patrol logo, we're using the template that we cut out, and we just cut out this inner part to get these different sizes. And as you can see, we rolled out fondant. The largest was the blue around the outside, and then the smallest was red, and then we cut out an intermediate in between in the gray fondant. Now we're gonna stick them together, again using a small little brush and some water. Molly, you wanna do this one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can put it on there or the back side of here. Okay.
Perfect.
Now we're gonna do the same thing with the red, layer it. Look how cool the layers look. That looks like a police badge.
Dun.
Oh wait, right on your pocket.
Perfect.
We're also gonna roll out some white fondant, cut out this little bone, and blue fondant to cut out these little letters right here. They're so cute, adorable, and they say patrol, and we'll cut them out of blue fondant. Mo and I are rolling out some brown fondant now into strips. We're gonna try to make them this long. This is the guide. And this is going to be decoration to go around the base of each cake. We're gonna try to make it look like a dog collar.
The cake is really coming together. It's looking super cute.
Yes. And now we're just gonna make some more decorations, starting with a 3 because Grayson is turning 3. Again with the yellow fondant, we're gonna cut out another circle and we're gonna make it look like a little dog tag to go on the dog collar. And last but not least, we're gonna roll out some white fondant and using a cookie cutter and these metal piping tips, we're gonna be cutting out some dog paws. Next to the collar tag, I'm rolling out and making some gray details to look like the buckle of the dog's collar.
Ta-da! The cake is done.
It's awesome.
It looks so freaking good.
But we're not done.
Okay.
I also got Grayson another toy, and sometimes I like to do this with cake decorations and design. So look what I did. I got the toys. So
Yay!
it's a double gift. And I really love this idea because if you guys are in a hurry and you want to make a beautiful cake, but you don't want to spend forever decorating, you can always get the little toys and just place them on the cake. The cake is officially done. We have created this adorable Paw Patrol birthday cake, 2-tiered, custom funfetti for little Grayson. Again, I'm gonna be putting all the measurements, the ingredients, and the recipe in the description down below. So if you guys ever wanna make it at home for a birthday party or a viewing party, maybe Paw Patrol will be having Paw Patrol 2 movie. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. Stay tuned to see Grayson's birthday party. We're gonna go literally right now and go set it up.
Let's go. We have stuff to do.
Whatever,
Oh
don't
my
drop
gosh,
this cake.
Do you want help?
I will cry.
Oh man.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Alright, that does it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The cake was a big hit, super adorable, and we're making memories over here. So cute. Thanks again for watching. If you have any other ideas for any other nerdy nummies, leave me a comment down below and I'll do my best to make it happen. And again, a big thanks to Hellofresh for sponsoring this video. Bye-bye!